Hi, everyone. I'm Steve. I'm here with Brian Sanchez, who is a personal trainer at Parkway Athletic Club in Carson City, Nevada. Thanks for being here, Brian.
Glad to be here, Steve. How's everybody doing out there?
All right, so we're going to talk about TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. If you guys watch the channel, you know that Brian and I are both on testosterone replacement therapy. We're both big advocates of it. My dosage is a lot smaller than Brian's. There's a link in the description if you want to go to the place where we get testosterone, and you want to make sure, let me just say, you want to make sure you are working with a doctor who is prescribing this and that this is coming from a legitimate pharmacy. So that's Royal Medical, and they are they are in the description. And use the promo code Vitality1. I think you get $45 or $50 off the first 3 months. But you need to check more than one place and find out what is right for you. You need to get your testosterone checked and see what it is. It's really important to have your testosterone in a normal range. And I've done tons of research on this. So has Brian. We talk about it a lot. And it's a life changer. And low testosterone is very common. You want to get it up into a normal range because for heart health and for a lot of other reasons, mental, cognitive ability, and many other benefits and health aspects, when it comes to testosterone, it's got to be in the right range. And there's a few other tests that you want to do. So check with your doctor. Your doctor might do it. A lot of practitioners, general practitioners, don't get involved. They'll refer you to a specialist, but Royal Medical, they are specialists there. This is all they do. But there's other places that you can go. So Brian, going to give us an update, and you're going to talk about your dosage. My dosage is smaller than Brian's. I'm maybe 100 milligrams, 120 milligrams a week. I use an insulin needle. I do 3 times a week, right in the shoulder. Works best for me. So the total is about 100, 120 milligrams a week for me. My testosterone, my total testosterone is on the high end, and so is my free testosterone. So I'm dialed in. I feel great. Workouts are great, but it's been years now. I've been on TRT for at least 10 years in different ways. So I've got it dialed in for me now. So Brian, why don't you give us an update on what's going on with you?
So, testosterone, I can't say enough about how good this is. Steve and I talked a long time even before I got into TRT. I asked a lot of questions. I did all the studies myself. And if you're interested in this, everybody, don't be afraid of it. That's all I can say. People will look at the side effects. Yes, there are side effects. You want to know what they are, but don't be afraid of this product and get to a doctor who
Brian,
understands.
isn't one of the side effects you can bench press more?
No.
That is a side effect.
It's funny you say that because I bench no more than I did before testosterone. And I might venture to say my top end strength, but I was powerlifting back in those days. So I don't think I'm stronger, but I can tell you my stamina is way better. I can do more reps at higher weights or heavier weights than I used to be able to do because my body's responding well. So I do think it does enhance us a little bit. We were saying before, you're not enhanced, but we actually are when you take it. But when it comes to the testosterone itself, dosing's important. Steve's talking about how he takes it 100 to 120 milligrams. My prescription is for 200 right now, but we're working on bringing that down 200 milligrams a week. And it's really different how bodies respond. And this is important for everybody. You're going to hear a lot of different ways people take the testosterone. Some are intramuscular. Some use big 1-inch needles like me. Some use testosterone needles that are smaller. They inject it into fat, from what I'm told. There's different ways people use this in different areas that they inject. I have tried injections into my legs and my hips. I prefer 100% hips. I can't stand injecting into my leg. I don't know if it's because I'm looking at it, but I do my own work. I do my own injections. So, from everything I read, if I was to split up my injections through the week, I might get a better operation from it. However, I use one single dose per week, and my numbers, I injected on my last test, I injected on a Saturday. And when I tested the following Friday, my total numbers were 1346, which is pretty high,
Yeah.
actually.
Just so everyone knows, that is a high number. You're shooting for 900 at the top of the range now. Now, if you went back 100 years, I would say testosterone was probably way higher, but that's a good number, 100 for your total testosterone.
Right. And so I'm working on bringing that down. And because if your testosterone gets too high, it can affect your estradiol and things like that. And so you got to pay attention to all of this. So I'm a single dose a week, and my body just reacts very well to it. And so I'm working with my doctors regularly. I'm getting regular blood work done. I use Royal Medical Center now. I didn't originally use them. I used the Age Management Institute out of Reno, Nevada. They taught me all kinds of stuff. Fantastic clinic. However, Royal Medical, it just comes to my house. Everything's done over the computer, your appointments, your doctor visits. And it's just the ease of taking care of business that I appreciate from Royal Medical. With that dosing, the number one thing I can say about testosterone for me is that my attitude on life is completely different than it was pre testosterone. What I mean by that, I suffered from anxiety, depression, and that stuff's gone. I 100% believe it was because my testosterone levels were so low. And I just looked at my pre testosterone number of 264. That was my total testosterone. I believe 300 is considered medically low, Steve.
Yeah, 300's too low. In my opinion, 50 is too low. You want it at the high end, but you don't want it too high. That's for sure. And it's good you're talking about your experience and what you do, because I do something different. And I'll tell you why, but everyone is different, and I'll tell you what's worked best for me. But that's low.
Yeah, 264. I didn't want to get out of bed. And, you know, this is really important, guys, because I've talked to countless numbers of men and a handful of women about testosterone. Everybody thinks that the signs of testosterone deficiency have everything to do with a male and his ability to sexually perform. That is not what it is. What I'm starting to see when I'm talking to people that are experiencing low testosterone is mood, anxiety issues, depression issues, lethargic behavior, always tired, and almost always weight gain. And so, if you're experiencing any of those types of things and you're having a foggy brain, go take a look for yourself and see if you might want to do this. A couple of things people have asked me about was, well, aren't you scared that once you start, I heard that you're going to be on it forever? Well, yeah, the body will really struggle in producing an appropriate level of testosterone if I ever came off. However, it was already doing that. And I do not want to go back to the miserable days. So I'm not worried about if I have to take this for the rest of my life. Now, and before I turn it back over to Steve, some of the side effects. I'm actually in the process of lowering my numbers, and I'm still pretty high. But because my numbers were a little bit higher, I believe I experienced thinning of the hair, which I don't really care. I did for a while in the beginning get some acne, which was funny, but that's it because it's controlled, because it's monitored. And when we take a look at my numbers, I work with the medical professionals to make the adjustments. So in my future, the next time we talk about this, I hope my numbers are closer to 1,000, if not a little lower.
All right. So that's a lot there. You said a lot of good stuff. And my testosterone before I started on TRT was probably 300, 350. I had no symptoms of low testosterone, none of any kind. My doctor was concerned and said, hey, we need to get that up just to protect your heart, because heart disease can be a problem if your testosterone is too low. Now, are we enhanced? Yeah, we're enhanced. I mean, we've talked about that. But what's wrong with that? I mean, I want to be enhanced. It's not like we're on a steroid cycle, because we're not. It's not the same. I'm not walking around with bulging muscles. I'm kind of a skinny guy. But am I enhanced? Yeah. Compared to if I wasn't on TRT, you're going to be enhanced. It's just how it is. And you talked about you have to be prepared. Yes, this is a lifelong journey. Once you go on TRT, expect to stay on it. Now, another thing about the way that I inject compared to the way Brian does, and I've tried other ways. The injectable is the best. I like injecting it when I do I'm not doing an intermuscular injection. I use an insulin needle. It doesn't bother me at all. It shouldn't bother anyone, but it's going into the fat. So it's subcutaneous. I have found that I get a stable testosterone level. I take it in the morning, which your testosterone normally spikes a little bit in the morning, and it just stabilizes. At 3 times a week, my testosterone is here. If you're doing, I've found intermuscular, a deeper injection into the hip or your glute, you get more of a spike and more of a downturn. The half-life is 3 to 4 days. So if you're doing an injection once a week and it doesn't bother Brian, some people it does. I've talked to people like, oh man, by day 6, I'm like crashing. I didn't notice that as much, but I just noticed by testing my testosterone a lot that it stays right here, because I'll go get my testosterone checked a lot on different days. And whatever day I go, it's pretty much right there. It's not getting a spike and it's not going down. And part of that is the subcutaneous. I do it in the shoulder. You can do it anywhere. But that subcutaneous injection also, the testosterone just kind of goes in slower. And I have found that it's just a little more stable. So that's my way of doing it. And Brian's testosterone is definitely going to be different on day 6 compared to day 2. If he checked his testosterone on day 2, it's going to be higher than day 6. And then there's 7 days in a week, obviously, and then back to your injection day. So there's other things that you want to monitor. You want to monitor your blood work. And there is, if there's going to be side effects if your testosterone goes too high, and you don't want it too high. You want it in a nice, perfect range for you. And it's really important to be working with a professional, a medical professional, to get this right for you, because there's other things that you got to check. Some people are big on checking the thickness of the blood, the hemoglobin, some are not. But I've listened to a lot of doctors, probably 7 or 8, 9 different doctors, and got their opinions on them, and then talked to people in person too, to see what they think about this stuff. And then some people believe in testosterone blockers or estrogen blockers. I don't use anything except the testosterone. Now, Brian talked about hair thinning. I use a topical stuff that I put on my hair, and it works. I'm surprised, because I would have way less hair if I didn't use that. It's a topical finasteride and dutasteride. I get it from a place called Happy Head. I am not affiliated with them. They have no idea who I am, but that's what I do. It's like a little oil, and you put drops on your head in the morning and at night. And I'm in my 60s, and my hair is, I don't know, it's, I think, a little better than normal for someone my age, but that's why. And if that's important to you guys, then that's something. Zero side effects with that. Zero. For me, I guess there could be some, but again, they have medical professionals that are going to prescribe this. Again, I'm not affiliated, but if you're interested in that, or even if you're not on TRT and you don't like that your hair is getting thinner, you're getting older, I'm telling you, this stuff really works for me. Just a topical type thing. So if you guys have questions, we can answer your questions on a personal basis. Put them in the comment section on what has worked for us or what I do. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's healthy in my opinion. And most doctors, hormone specialists are going to tell you the same thing. They're not going to like it if your testosterone is low. And if you're having some of those side effects, you could have a low libido. That's common if your testosterone's too low. I never had that side effect, and neither did Brian. But then the brain, if you got things are a little fuzzy, that could mean your testosterone is low. If you're just lethargic and tired, that could mean your testosterone is low. And you mentioned something, Brian. If all of a sudden you haven't changed anything, you're working out and you're eating right, and all of a sudden your body composition starts to change, like going, wait a minute, why am I getting this tire around my waist? I'm eating healthy, I'm working out, I'm doing everything right, and all of a sudden I'm getting this tire around my waist. I'm getting fat. My body composition is changing. That could be low testosterone. As a matter of fact, if you're doing everything right, I'm going to say it probably is. You got to listen to your doctor, but and that's something. Did you notice that, Brian, that you started your body composition was changing? Or
Yes. In fact, when I retired from the force, now I've been working for Steve's companies for the last decade, but when I retired from the force, I just didn't key in on it. And over about a 5 year period, I was gaining weight. And now this is going to sound weird, and Steve may be able to explain this a little bit differently. I'm talking body fat percentage. When I retired from the force, my body fat percentage was higher than what it is today. And at its peak, before I started TRT, I was 8% higher in body fat than I am today. Now, here's the funny thing, I'm 26 pounds heavier. What does that equate to? If my waistline's gone down since testosterone, which is a fact, my body fat percentage has dropped. And I know 8% isn't significant, but it's important. But my body weight has gone up over 20 pounds. What's my body really doing? It's putting on good weight. Now, we don't want to get too big because the heart's probably not designed to carry, way too much weight. But I can assure you that my chest size is bigger, my legs are bigger, my arms are bigger when it comes to measurements. These are little bonuses because that goes along with the mindset with the testosterone. And it's not because I can lift heavier, it's because my body's more efficient. My workouts, I can get deeper in with my repetitions so I can work the volumizing of my muscles easier. All these little things the last few years have gone in a positive direction. The other thing with the testosterone and blood draws or blood donations, and for me, the use of cayenne pepper every day, my blood lipid panels are better than ever have been in my entire life. I have a healthier blood screen now than I did 20 years ago. I do put that into testosterone because I still got it every year. And since I've been on testosterone, my cholesterol's normal, my blood sugar's normal, my triglycerides are normal. Everything you can think of blood healthy has balanced out. That's really important to think about because what Steve was talking about when medical professors are telling you, hey, if your blood or if your testosterone levels are low, that's not good for the ticker. Well, think about all those things being elevated because I was on all those pills and being able to bring those down. I got a shot at living healthier for the rest of my life now. It's just something to think about, everybody.
you make some great points, and that's a great thing that you brought up, Brian, because let me put it this way. Being on testosterone is going to improve your health in multiple ways. We can say almost in every way. Your blood work's going to improve. But here's why. And you said why without saying it directly. Let's forget about the TRT for a second. Let's say if you're in your 50s, which is when Brian and I both started TRT, let's say you change your body composition. Forget about how, just for a minute. And we'll come back to the TRT in a second on what it does. But let's say you change your body composition. That means you put on pounds of muscle, which Brian has put on a lot, and you lose pounds of fat. That's a body recomp, which means you're going to be leaner. You have more muscle and you have less fat. When that happens, you become metabolically healthy. The visceral fat, if you have it, goes away. You know, the basketball under your shirt, because you're healthier. Your testosterone is up and the fat is coming off. Your body is more efficient. You're becoming metabolically healthier. And metabolic diseases and just people are unhealthy metabolically. Then what happens? Diabetes creeps in, pre-diabetes. Your blood panel gets all messed up. Your blood pressure. Why? Because you're fat. So when you start to get leaner, all aspects of your health are going to improve. Now, yes, it was the testosterone that did it, but if it happened some other way, you would still get the same health benefits.
Correct. I mean, you can do all of that through proper eating systems and things like that. I just, I think I'm a little bit surprised at how effective this was. And Steve and I are pretty close to the same age. I'm still younger, even though I look older.
You're going to pass me up.
We both embrace these ideas as guys that are a bit older. And look, we've done a lot of things in life, and we're both gym rats, but we've both been able to effectively make positive changes for our internal health. And I think that's really important for all of it. And it's not just men that can have these benefits. Now, I know, a lot of the ladies that listen to us might think, well, I don't want to look like Brian. Well, you're not gonna. You're not gonna lift like me. You're not gonna eat a 4,000 calorie diet. You're not gonna do any of that stuff. A light dose of testosterone is not gonna bulk you out or yoke you out. It's not gonna increase your Adam's apple. You're not talking about things that you're abusing products. And when you see those significant changes in ladies, I'd venture to say it's not testosterone that's doing that if they're on a dose of testosterone prescribed by a doctor. Those that you see that really get enhanced, like over the top enhanced, there's other products they're using to make that happen. So it's not necessarily a testosterone issue. And the reason I leave the door open a little bit is because I'm not a doctor. The other thing we kind of hit on, but I just want to bring it back. When it comes to side effects of testosterone and it comes to blood thickness, I did experience a little thickening of my blood, but through regular blood donations, it's gone away. So there are ways to take care of that without having to go on blood thinners and things of that. And I'll say it again, everybody should be taking cayenne capsules, or like I do, scoop of cayenne pepper in your first protein shake in the morning.
Yeah.
That will also help you maintain your blood.
Last thing I'll say is you brought up women. Women have the same symptoms of low testosterone. It's just their testosterone's a lot lower. Their free testosterone, their total testosterone is much less. It's a fraction of what a man should be. But if it's too low, you're going to have the same symptoms. So if you guys have questions, we do things kind of differently. But the body composition thing is big, as you're putting on more muscle and you're losing fat. It's almost like you're getting younger. You're not, but it feels like it because your body composition is going back more like it was than whatever your body composition was years ago if you were fit. So, Brian, as always, we thank you for your input. Thanks for being here.
Love it. Glad to talk. Everybody take a look. And if you're in the Carson City area, come see us at the Parkway.